Good morning, potato chips. How are you? We Paddy again. I'm back for another video. And this morning, it's an open tag. And as you can see by the title, three knives, if you lost them, you would replace. Now, I'm going to have a few caveats in this. Because this is a tag that's sort of gone on before, what I want to do is take some things out of the equation that you can't use because we've probably all used them before in videos and we've shown a lot of our subs and the new subs, they'll get to see them again. But this is knives that you use that you would replace if you lost. The things I want to take out, and because it's a sort of an emotional tie, and you feel as if you have to put the same knives in, like I do all the time. This is a knife that I bought for my father. My father wasn't a knife person, so I brought him into my hobby by buying him this knife after he passed away. It sounds crazy, but he just wasn't a knife person. So for my memory of him, when I take this one, and I use this one too, I don't use it a whole lot, but I do use it. It's the Hinderer Slippy. It's UK legal. I can carry it legally outside. It's a fantastic knife. It's a bit too threatening for this country. And look, forget the rules. That's just what they are. So it's a bit too threatening. So I don't take it out a lot to use. This will probably go in a bag if I'm going somewhere for the weekend or something like that, and I'll take it with me. But I don't want to use knives that have an emotional attachment to relatives or whatever. This is not what this video is for. Like this knife here, my Grail knife, and it still is, always will be, my Grail knife. And this was a gift by Jeff Jewell, one of my subs. I have other ones in there from subs who I'm close to, that mean a lot emotionally, but that's not the knife I'm looking for, because if I replace this, I could never put back this knife. It would just be a replacement for the knife that was my Grail, that was a gift. So that's not the knives that I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is your just everyday knives, whether they're high or low, it doesn't matter, prices are relevant. It's just three knives that if you lost them tomorrow, you would do everything you could to buy another one just like it. And the reason why. Now, there you go. There's one now. I'm going to go with my first one. And the first one is this GEC, number 96 pattern Barlow from GEC. It's just an absolute, this is my favourite knife of all time as a useful working knife. It's 440C, absolutely beautiful, big knife. Well, I say big, it's a full, well spread out 4 fingers, very, very comfortable if I want to use it for any task. And this will be used. It's not that new, not that old in my collection, it's only new, but I have used it and I absolutely love it. This will get used properly, as I use knives properly. Let's always put that in. So that's my first one, because it's just, to me, this is, and even the bone, I would go out of the way to get this. They do different materials. I would go out of the way to get this exact model, because as a knife for stroking and just having in your hand, I love the look of this. I love the feel of this knife. It's the perfect weight, and it's just everything I ever wanted in a pen knife when I started collecting. And it took me 5 years to find this knife that I can say, at the moment, tomorrow could be different, but at the moment, this is my favourite knife in my collection for use and for just aesthetics, for everything I can think of in a knife. This is it. Now, the next knife I'm going to do is another knife that's a user in my collection. It's this knife here. It was a custom by Ashley Harrison, not a dear custom, but it was a custom he made for me. And it was the first knife I ever had made for me using the materials that I picked and wanted. It's a 1 tool steel. It's a beautiful dyed blue bone, just a basic cow bone. Lovely shield on it. It's my favourite shield, the Federal Shield. And nickel silver bolsters, made to Ashley's incredibly high standard. I just love this knife in hand. This is what I would, I know it's a custom, but the price that Ashley charges for customs, going on the round the world prices, Ashley's given his away. And that's the truth. I think he's given them away, but that's Ashley. And I just think this, as a real beater working knife, this is a bit more expensive. Not that much more, to be honest. In fact, it's not that much more at all. But this is my pretty go-out knife. This is my do-anything knife. This knife is flipping fantastic. It's heavy, not heavy, as you know what I mean, but it's beautiful in hand. I love the easy opening because, like all Arthur Wright knives and Ashley Harrison, he puts a really strong spring, which I love. When I say strong, 7.5, and that's a lovely pull, and that easy open just makes this knife a joy to hold, use, and cut. And I love the blade shape for harder work. So that's another one. And if that went out, I would not make. I'm not that big. I would get Ashley to make me another one exactly the same to replace that, because of its value to me as a work knife, as a using knife. But it's doubled up with that thing that it was, a custom knife from a custom maker who I love and love his knives. That's one of his. Oh, you like my new anvil? Got a new anvil for doing peening work and that. Really heavy, it's small, but you stick a couple of magnets on it and it does great when it's not in use as a stand, which I prefer it than my Lansky turnbox. So that's where that came from. Now, the last one is probably going to be a shock to everybody. The next knife I would do my best to replace, for the reason that this was the knife when I was sitting thinking about this. This is one of the knives, let's say, let's not just define it entirely. One of the knives that got me really into knife, not so much the collecting, but, buying knives for use. And now it's a collector. I've had it for 5 years, and it's this. I know, it's a Ganzo. When I first came around 5 years ago, this was a clone. I was ridiculed from head to toe for this knife because it looks like a Spyderco. But I've never seen a Spyderco with a lock on it. But anyway, I was ridiculed, reviled for buying this Chinese junk. Chinese junk is flipping good. This is 5-year-old, being used, will continue to be used. This is an absolute cracker. And it's got that little place because it was the knife that probably turned me on to there's great knives out there and you don't have to spend a fortune. What I'm buying here is, if not as good, it is as good enough for me as a Paramilitary 2. This is more comfortable than the Paramilitary 2, so that in itself would mean it's not exactly the same. And let's be honest, at the minute the knife, especially modern ones out there, they are so samey at the top of the range. And you go through fads where they want a big fat blade, a skinny blade, and they all just seem as if they're just copying one another. In a sort of a 3-month cycle, you'll get one that comes out and then everybody makes that shape, and it just goes on. And that's why I had to step away, because it wasn't doing it for me. If it does it for you, please continue. My words mean nothing. This is just me we're talking. And everything I do in these videos is my opinion. So it's not wrong. It's my opinion. But I would buy one. I would hunt these high and low. And these original ones with the O are incredibly hard to find. They have a new model out now that's got an oval shape. I probably will get one just to see what the difference is in a model that was made 5 years ago to what it is now. I just haven't got round to doing that, but I might do it soon. Well, I will do it soon. But this one just really did let me see that money was not everything with a knife. I have spent more hours flicking this knife than any other knife in my collection. It's like glass. It's never broke a spring. 5-year-old, used more than any of my Benchmades. And this is a knife that, if it went out, I would do my damnedest to find the original one with a hole to replace it. There you go. That's my 3 knives. So that's a sort of pattern I want you to follow. Just a reason for most of these, because they're good user knives, but that's incredibly attractive, as this is, but this is a work knife, as is that. But this is I don't know. This just, when I pick this up, I want to go and cut something. I pick this up, I look at it for 10 minutes because I just love it, and I love the feel in hand, as I do this one. And this one, this is comfortable in hand. This is a work knife. I know it's that crap steel 440C. Who would ever want that steel? Well, I do. I love it. There's two knives there, got 440C in it. One's a very modern, up-to-date knife, which is a fantastic user. One's a very old, not modern knife. Does it rest my point? 01 tool steel. There isn't an M390 or anything down here because, yes, I have them and they're fantastic. This is 20CV. It's fantastic. But not for my use. I don't need that for my use. So there you go. Paddy's wee open tag. Everybody please join in. Let's see, because this way I think I'm going to see different knives rather than emotionally attached knives or gift knives. Let's see what you've got, your top 3, not 4, not 5. Make it a short video and more people will do it. All the best. Paddy's gone. Cheers now.